Right, 26 May 2020, and I'm joined by Mr. Khaliphani Phugeni, spokesman for MDC Acting President, Dr. Thokozani Kupe. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. How are you, sir, and the listeners at home?
Thank you very much. Today, we want to clarify a number of issues. The first one being the court case by MDC Alliance chairperson, Tabitha Khumalo. What is your take on that challenge?
Well, it's a cheap way of trying to undermine the decision of the Supreme Court, but it will not work. Simple.
Okay, what has happened with the court case?
The court case has been adjourned until the 28th of May 2020.
Okay, so they brought a court case, an urgent application, when they had another one that was already waiting for judgment. Are these going to be heard at the same time? Do you have any details?
No, I don't have any details, but I think they already told us. Remember, after the Supreme Court judgment, they were clear. They told us that they appealed the High Court judgment, simple as a technical way to suspend or what they call in legal terms, stay of prosecution, so that they can then be able to do their Congress, which at the time they were claiming that is the 5th Congress, but now they are telling us that actually it was the inaugural Congress. But anyway, the point I'm making is these are people who are keen and who are not against the abuse of legal systems to serve their selfish ends.
Okay, let us say on Friday, the judge rules and says Tabitha Khumalo is not supposed to be withdrawn. What are the actions that are available to the MDCT?
No, it's not possible, my brother. You can want to speak on hypotheticals. I understand why you do that. You want to obviously have some content, keep your audience entertained, but there is no such thing that will happen because the decisions of the Supreme Court are binding to all the courts below it. Now, let me give you a legal reasoning why this cannot happen. The Supreme Court has since said Bulawayo Stanley Square did not happen, and Gweru did not happen. So you then can't go before a court of law and say, I was removed unduly, so I'm a chairperson of this organization registered. The ZEC knows the judgment. The judgment is there. The very same judgment which we used to recall those MPs is the same judgment which we will use to change the list in ZEC, because you can't say, this party can't remove me because I didn't run under them. The court has since said, and this is under our law now, the court has since said there is no MDC alliance that was formed as of that 2019 Congress.
Okay, I think you have covered this issue. Let's wait for Friday and see what the judge says. I want to quickly go to another issue which came up in 2 interviews this week. The first one was by Jameson Timber, and the second one was by Alex Magaisa.
Okay.
The 2 gentlemen said Dr. Kupe did not challenge when Morgan Tsvangirai appointed Nelson Chamisa and Elias Mudzuri. She did not challenge. She decided to boycott meetings. Can you give us a proper explanation? Did Dr. Kupe boycott, or what did she do when Nelson Chamisa and Elias Mudzuri were appointed?
Okay, let me do this. I want to, first of all, acknowledge the Daily News. I think you know my beef with the Daily News. I've said it vocally here and even in other platforms. So I think what they did today, in particular, they really covered themselves in glory, and they did very well to push back on the criticism, which to me was fairly so that we have put it. And you know what I'm talking about. They woke up this morning with a headline, front page, stakes higher. They've got Dr. Kupe's picture there, a picture that is in line with exactly what is happening, because many times they'll put a picture which is totally contrary to what is happening. And you know, a picture says 1,000 words. So I really want to register my gratefulness and my gratitude towards the Daily News, the editor in particular. But I must mention this young man, Mugobe Tafire Nyika. I mean, I don't know him. He just gave me an interview and I wasn't that serious because I really thought, you know what, these guys are going to twist our words anyway. But anyway, let me just give them an interview like all other people. I couldn't be proud of the person I didn't know like I am with this young man right now. He was so brave to go with this article and even the editor, because I'm saying this because you know very well the pressure you've been under for just giving us a platform to put our side of the story. So you can imagine the most popular daily, if it has to do this, I am sure that this young man will be put under immense pressure. I'm sure that the editor will face immense pressure, but I'm very proud of them today. This is the type of Zimbabwe we want to build. Now, let me come to your question. I must also thank you, by the way. Just before I came online, I got a call from Jonas. He just called me now and he said he has reflected a lot on the interviews he's given about Dr. Kupe, and he said a lot of wrong things that he should have never said, but this lockdown has given time to reflect, and he's very sorry. He was even willing to come on this very same platform to retract all those things that he has said. So it could not have happened without this platform, without you giving us this platform a voice to push back on most of those absurd accusations. Thank you so much, guys. This is the Zimbabwe we want to build. We can differ, we can hold different opinions, but it must be fair. Everyone must be given a fair voice and a fair platform to push back where they think they've been unfairly criticized or accused. So now let me go to your question. Let me put it to you this way. So they are saying Dr. Kupe didn't challenge the appointment of the two gentlemen, which you and me know that is not true, because the whole world knows it, because it was publicized that she challenged that. She actually challenged it very vocally. But let me put it to you this way. Let's just go with this illusion of theirs that she didn't challenge. So what?
Okay, according to Magaisa, he raised the issue that the appointments were inappropriate, but she was quiet, and he said you could not mourn more than the bereaved. Those were his words.
Yeah, well, I had the pleasure, I must say so. It was 1 hour, 30 minutes. So to listen to that interview, and pick up to those ladies, those that want can go to their page. I think it's Girls in the Skies, you know, Girl in the Sky, something of that sort. Wonderful, wonderful interview. The one they did last week with Advocate Fadzai, and the one they did yesterday. Wonderful, wonderful interviews. 1 hour, 30 minutes listening to Magaisa. I think you would have noticed something. I'm being analytical right now. I think you would have noticed something that with Magaisa, you got more in terms of the historical effects of our political struggles. You even got more in terms of the MDC fights as they're happening right now. And that speaks to institutional memory. You can see that the guy has been in this for quite a long time, if you are to compare the one that happened last week. So I think I'm now answering that question which you asked me last week. Is Chamisa getting the right advice? Obviously, if you look at the people that are surrounding him now, they know nothing about the MDC. They know nothing about the struggles of the country, the political history, as demonstrated succinctly yesterday by Dr. Magaisa. You could see that the man has depth. But let me answer you direct what Dr. Magaisa was talking to yesterday. What they are actually asking for from the public and what they are communicating, they have accepted, although they don't want to really elevate this acceptance to its logical conclusion. They have accepted that at law, Chamisa was wrong. But this is very, very important. They have accepted that at law, Chamisa was wrong. But why I'm saying they're not bringing this thing to its logical conclusion, then therefore, if Chamisa was wrong at law, you cannot impeach the High Court. You cannot impeach the Supreme Court and paint them as captured organizations. You must accept that at law, he was wrong. And they have accepted that. My guys accepted that. So they all know that. As I told you last week, they know that as lawyers, they know that. What they are appealing to now, they are appealing to what is called in England and in America. In England, it will be called the Court of Equity, or the Chancery. So in America, it's put together with the normal courts, to the extent that you will find a judge giving a judgment, and then you say, but this judgment is flawed at law, and then the judge will tell you that, no, I was sitting here as a court of equity, right? So that's what they're asking for. What they're asking for, maybe just to explain to an ordinary person to understand what I'm talking about, they're asking for fairness, because you must appreciate that the law is not always fair. So the law is not always just. The law can be unjust. And let me demonstrate it to you this way. Right now, you know that it is law that when you go outside the country or when you apply for a passport, the father of the child must assent, or both parents must assent. And anyone who travels with the child outside the country must have consent from the other partner, right? Now, if you find a situation where a father is just registered, but that father has played nothing, no part in this child's life, in some cases it will be a married man who got the girl pregnant but doesn't want his family to know and whatsoever. So what that means is that this child, until this child has reached the age of majority, which is 18, cannot travel outside the country or anything without the other father's consent, and the father may not be playing ball. But it's law. The law does not allow you to travel. You can go and explain until you are blue, it's law. So, but it's unfair. That's the point that I'm raising. So that is why then in England and in America, then you have this other branch of law, which initially when it started in England, really the judges there were clergy. They were pious men. So they are appealing to the conscience. In other words, what is it? We want to deal with something which is fair here. So that is what they're appealing to. They are simply saying, yes, Chamisa at law, he was wrong. But it's unfair now for him to having built this machinery, which they're looking, this political machinery, for it to be taken away and be given to Kupe. That's the argument they are making, right? But this is where they come unstuck. It's because when you go for this way, if you're appealing to this court of equity or chancellor, what you are simply doing there is you are going there asking them to give you justice where common law or where the legal system is not able to give it to you. But there are principles, what they call maxims. You know, there are maxims that allow you to approach this court. One of them says, he that come to equity must come with clean hands. You see? So now, Chamisa can't go because he does not have clean hands, because we are where we are because of his actions. Had it not been of the actions of Chamisa and his group, there would have been no MDCT of Dr. Kupe. There would have been no alliance as we know it. There won't be all of this. So all of this is as a result of his actions. Let me bring it to criminal law. If it was criminal law, these MPs and the assets that we're fighting over right now would have been proceeds of crime and therefore subject to seizure. So that is what they're arguing. They are simply saying it's unfair, but they don't realize that this argument they are making, it's too late, because we will not have been where we are had it not been of the actions of Chamisa. Let me put it simple like this. Let's go with that analogy that I always use with you of wife and husband and whatever. So in the last two examples that I used, you were the one who was unfaithful. So let's change it now. In this hypothetical scenario of you and your spouse. So if then your spouse falls into temptation and then becomes pregnant by another man, then comes home, and then that child is born there at your house. That man, if you are going with this court of equity that I'm talking about, that man cannot come and demand rights and access and privileges of a father. Even if you go with our customs and tradition, that's why you know, which means the one that is born in a crow is yours. You see, so that man cannot cry and say it's unfair and whatsoever, because had this man not done this hideous crime, this hideous sin, there would have been no child to speak of, no child to have been denied access to. I hope it makes sense.
Right, it makes sense, but the question still remains. Many people are raising this argument that why is Dr. Kupe coming now when she last attended in March 2017 and she never came to meetings?
No, but I said to you it's not true. I said to you the whole reason why you know that she protested this, it's because she did protest it, by the way. That's why the whole world knows about it. If she did not protest it, you would not have known about it. Now, let me remind you, because you guys have short memory, especially as it pertains to Dr. Kupe, that somehow you are very innovative with your memory as it pertains to the other side. You even create things that are not there. Let me assist you in this manner. Dr. Kupe challenged the issue of the appointments to the extent that Dr. Tsvangirai downgraded those appointments from VPs to his assistants, at least in his public utterances. I gave you a video last year when Dr. Tsvangirai was addressing in Bulawayo, and he said to the Bulawayo Assembly, you guys are confusing your politics. I can give you that video again. He says, you guys are confusing your politics. Some of you are saying, I've brought 2 more vice presidents to challenge Dr. Kupe. And he said, according to you, who is senior Dr. Kupe and these ones? And people kept quiet until someone said Dr. Kupe. And he says, it's obvious it's Dr. Kupe because, and he tells you why in that video. He says, because Dr. Kupe was elected at Congress, these ones were appointed by me to assist me. So why would Dr. Kupe go to court on those grounds? Because Dr. Kupe was told clearly that these ones are not in the same level with you. These are my assistants. You are a vice president elected at Congress, and we know what our constitution says about the vice president elected at Congress. So we're okay with that. That is why when I listen to my guys are saying Dr. Kupe walked away and all those people, they are not telling the truth. They are not telling the truth, and they know they are not telling the truth. Because when Tsvangirai was addressing the Bulawayo Assembly, Dr. Kupe was there. Another fight ensued between Dr. Kupe and Dr. Tsvangirai followers in this way. When the alliance agreement was signed, there were things that people did not agree with there. And you know when Mkoyi went to Bulawayo to assault Dr. Kupe, that is when Dr. Kupe said, okay, I am not coming there until you come and meet me and assure me that I am safe. Very, very important. Because remember, when we signed the alliance agreement, or when we agreed in that National Council, which was held at Dr. Tsvangirai's house, those 2 men were already sitting there as vice presidents. If you remember, they were already sitting there as vice presidents. They were there, and Dr. Kupe was there. I was there in that National Council, which was held at Dr. Tsvangirai's house. So that collection is not a recollection. That's a made up a story. It's a fabrication. It's an imagination of somebody. So it's not. It's devoid from reality.
Okay. Now, when was the agreement signed? Please, can you just clarify that?
Sorry.
When was the alliance agreement signed?
No, I don't have the date off my head, but in our next interview, I can bring you the agreement. I have the agreement in my file here.
Okay, but it was after March 2017.
No, remember when the agreement was signed? The agreement was signed on a Saturday, of which the following day, that's when Mukoyi came to the Bulawayo office and these guys to assault Dr. Kupe and others. A well-reported story. It's there. Everyone knows it. So you can research that, you'll discover that the previous day, that's when the agreement was signed in Harare, right? Now, but I'm going somewhere with this. Remember, even at the funeral, you asked me about how did it end up that Dr. Kupe eventually was with Dr. Tsvangirai's mother and all those things. There's one thing that you guys miss, is that Dr. Kupe and Tsvangirai do not start their relationship and they are working together. Does not start at the MTC. It started at ZCTU. When Dr. Tsvangirai was the Secretary General of ZCTU, Dr. Kupe was the General Secretary of the Female Assembly of ZCTU. So the forming of the MTC was initiated there. That's where the thought process started. That's when the likes of Dr. Kupe started going throughout the country, mobilizing and organizing women for this formation that is yet to come. And they worked together, the MTC, I think 11 years plus, being her vice president. So these are not relations that you buy in the streets. Dr. Tsvangirai's kids are Dr. Kupe's kids. His kids are my brothers and sisters. I'm not exaggerating this. You can ask those that know. So every time he was in South Africa and I happened to be in South Africa, he will call me and Chief of whom you know, who was the chairperson of South Africa, to his kid's house. And I was never invited there with any other person. It's either he invites me alone or invites me with Chief. So there was that special bond which you can't just wish it away for political reasons. It's a reality that is there. Even today, Uncle Collins does call me, the kids call me. So you can't wish away these things. But for your own information, you would know that the very people that took Dr. Tsvangirai to hospital for his very first operation, it was us. And the people that contributed to that was ourselves, Dr. Kupe and George Sibochiwe. So you can't wake up in the morning and want to rewrite history. These are things that are known. So the family knows who we are. The family knows Dr. Kupe. You can't just wake up in the morning and say, because we want to usurp power, we are threatened by this woman, we are selfish like that, then therefore, this person is no longer a member of the party, this person is now a ZANU and all those things. Listen, any reasonable person will laugh at all that nonsense.
Okay, Mr. Khaliphani Phugeni, I think you have done a lot of explaining. Over the past year, I've seen a big change in the way people respond to the information that you give out. What is going to happen next according to you, according to your view? What do you think is going to happen here?
Okay, now I'm just giving you my clear analysis. I'm giving you my clear analysis. What is clear, now I'm just analyzing. So I'm not talking here in my capacity as a spokesperson. It's just an analysis because at least I can use common sense. This doesn't need me to be a brain surgeon. I just need to use common sense. Is that there is a split in the opposition party. The split has happened. We will need visionary leadership to try and make us trace back where we went wrong and then try and come together quickly before 2023. But a split has happened. There are those that are more inclined to pander into the whims of an individual and his desires more than that of the party, its character, its mission, and its norms, principles, and values. So we've got a lot of work to do of reminding each other, by the way, why did we start the MTC? We started it because we were challenging this cult of Mkabeism. So we can't replicate it in the opposition. I think that is important. I appeal to Zimbabweans to be patient. It's gonna be painful, but it's necessary. Experience does not help. Let me give you an example, Kabangu. When Mugabe was removed, everyone was in the streets celebrating, right? But I'm sure you've heard other people saying Mugabe was better than the current administration. Absurd. Now, honestly speaking, how can anyone be worse than Mugabe for a reasonable person? But the whole reason why they are speaking like that is because they are disappointed, because they wanted a quick fix. This country is broken to the core because, as I said to you on our very last interview, we are very selective in rebuking things. We rebuke things on the basis that this one I identify with, this one I don't identify with. So we need to be guided by certain sets of values and principles. If we can do that, we can build this country. And I can tell you, there is enough room for consensus. There is enough room for consensus. This binary, either you're ZANU or you're MTC, is not helping us, because there are many ZANU people, by the way, who agree with our views as opposition, that it is not okay for an economy that serves the few. It is not okay that the rural folks are disproportionately carrying the burden of a faltering economy. It is not fair that the rural folks go to schools under a tree. It is not fair that the rural folks have unqualified teachers. We agree on that. It is not fair that your surname or your geographical place of birth determines your destiny. It is not fair. We agree on a lot of these issues. So I think it is very, very important that we kind of like inspect and ask ourselves the hard question. Am I married to a political party and its leaders or its leader, or I'm married to a certain set of values and principles? That is going to be very critical. And I think the MTC, in its all different formations, it needs to introspect and really ask itself those hard questions. And I want to say this to you. I've had a conversation, by the way, with the current leadership after the court. And I told them in no uncertain terms that if I see any traits of what Chamisa did, I'm going to challenge you. Because I'm not against an individual. Chamisa is not my enemy. No, he's not my enemy. Wende is not my enemy. I'm just against certain acts that are undemocratic, that go against the values that I believe in. So anyone who does that, I'll challenge that. So you ask me, what do I think is going to happen? We need to introspect seriously, and a genuine change is needed. Otherwise, it's just going to be a vicious cycle. The coup that we are always reporting on, it may happen, but it will not last also. We'll also have another coup. And look at the human cost of this lack of a common vision for a country and the common sets of values and principles that we're pursuing. By the way, on that very same note, I really want to thank the Minister of Foreign Affairs, SP Moyo. I saw his circular that he wrote out promising investigations on the missing 3, and also assuring is that 6 security, I think it's policemen, are already before a court of law over the Bulawayo ladies. I couldn't be more proud than that. Of course, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. We want to see what's going to happen and what measures are put so that such things do not happen again. But I think it was good of him to get out there and let us know what exactly is happening.
Okay, Mr. Khaliphani Phugeni, I think let us end this discussion at this note. I'm very happy with the explanation that you've given. But before I close, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Today I saw a journalist called Hopo Chingono.
Okay.
He put back an odd post that he did during the time when the elections were being held, the MDC Congress, when Tsvangirai died, where he explained that the MDC name is going to become contentious once again. And that you can find that on his wall. But many people don't want to give Dr. Kupe any credit It's very difficult for popular people in the opposition to even consider Dr. Kupe as someone who could be right. What do you think she has to do to get the buy-in of all the people in the opposition? Because at the moment, it seems like people know the truth, but they don't want to give the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, first of all, Hopewell is not a journalist. He professes to be a journalist, but he lacks the corresponding actions, because journalists pursue after truth. Journalists don't take sides. They pursue after the truth, and they don't remain neutral. They pursue the truth and they stand with the truth, and Hopewell has not shown that. So Hopewell is, to me, is an extension of the Alliance malicious machinery. So he's not a journalist. I'm sorry. I won't recognize him as such. On the issue of people refusing to accept the truth that Dr. Kupe was done wrong in the extreme, and I say to you, the actions were criminal. It was an attempt on her life in the most gruesome manner possible. That's what happened. Now, if people are not willing to face up with that, they will want to reduce, they will want to diminish even the exoneration by the courts, by claiming that the courts are captured, by claiming that she's sleeping with ED, by claiming that she has a relationship with ED. Let me give you this, my brother. I think you can see that the relationship between Chamisa and the Professor Jonathan is very close and cozy. You know the rumors that are going around there. But it will be unfair of me to stand here on no other basis except that I differ with them to then go around and then give a credence to those rumors that they are in a despicable relationship. It will be unfair. So to sit here and look at Zimbabweans cry for justice in the cases where they think the government has treated them unjust, want the AU to be involved, SADC to be involved, the international community to be involved, when they can't accept that our favorite guy here and his people, what they did is barbaric and what they did is what we are against, I simply say they deserve the Zimbabwe they have. We deserve it. It makes no sense for the life of me. I gave you a judgment from South Africa here, which was talking about a same voluntary organization. And on the question of law, it's simple said, if you call a meeting outside the procedure and rules in your constitution, that meeting is null and void. And it said if you fire people as a result of that type of a meeting, that firing is null and void. And it went on exactly mirroring exactly as this judgment that came in the High Court in Zimbabwe and the Supreme Court. But instead of them accepting that, they would rather say, no, she's done a favor. No one has done a favor. Think with me here for a while. And I know it's difficult for most Zimbabweans to do this. Think with me objective here. If indeed ED had a relationship with Dr. Kupe, do you think Dr. Kupe would have been touched in Puera? If ED indeed had a relationship with Dr. Kupe, do you think Dr. Kupe would have been touched in Bulawayo twice, wanting to kill her? Do you think that if the president of the Republic had a romantic relationship with Dr. Kupe would have been touched in Harare High Court by Joanna and the crowd? Do you think if ED had a relationship with Dr. Kupe, do you think her car was going to be vandalized and she had to use her own money to try and patch up and fix that car? Now, any normal person, I mean, you've been in love, or you're in love, and us adults, we know what love is. Trust me, if anyone has a small house, and I've heard people saying, in my next life, I would like to be a small house is treated better in most cases than the madam of the house. So you can see that even on logic, on pure observation, that whole accusation is evil. I think that's all I can say, is evil, that you can't accept facts staring you in your eyes, and you would rather go with the most ridiculous excuse and say, no, she has a romantic relationship. Now, ask me, or rather answer this. Jonathan, who was clear that Dr. Kupe is being persecuted, it's there in his Twitter account. It's there. When Mukwe went to Bulawayo, he's the one who outs Mukwe. But all of a sudden, he has forgotten that. And yet I'm seated here, I'm saying to you, I do not want to even give credence to those accusations that they have a sexual relationship with Chamisa. I can't do that. I am normal like that. I can't do that. Simply because they are my opponents. I can't do that. So it's very unfair. She may not be able to persuade everyone, but like I told you, I think history is going to judge her favorable. History is going to judge Dr. Kupe favorable, which I cannot say about most of Zimbabwean leaders and even followers.
Okay, then I think that goes with the question of whether Dr. Kupe is failing to play the politics of marketing herself so that people can understand it better. You saw yesterday, Chamisa was out talking about Africa Day. He comes out once in a while to go out in the public. Is Dr. Kupe not failing to play the politics?
Right. Let me tell you something. By the way, Chamisa is not our model. He's not our example at all. We were not inspired by him at all. Nelson Mandela, we're very inspired. President Barack Obama, extremely inspired. Michelle Obama, inspired. No, Chamisa does not even come to the list. Chamisa appeals to the West in us, and we are not interested in him. Now, but our real model now, real model as far as Dr. Kupe is concerned, is Jesus Christ. Now, you know Jesus went through a trial, an extremely unfair trial. It ended up in his execution. Barnabas, who was a criminal, a rapist, and a cold murderer, he was exonerated. So, my friend, if all you have is the crowd, that's okay. We will pass. It's fine. You see, if they rejected Jesus Christ, I'm not surprised why they will reject Dr. Kupe. Dr. Kupe's values are values that we all have to emulate. That's who she is. That's how she does her things. And even in a disagreement with Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai, the disagreements remained dignified. They remained dignified because she understood that I can't disagree without being disagreeable. She understood that. So if the crowd can only respond to the West in us, it's fine. Dr. Kupe has to go down in history as someone with who failed to market herself in your own judgment. But I don't want to lie to you. I will be happy to name my daughter after her. I think she's a terrific leader. I think we are blessed to live during her time, and there are many lessons to learn from her. That the long arm of the law may seem to be lingering longer, but sooner or later, it will reach out and issue justice. So I'm happy seated here. I'm very happy with what she has done. Could she improve? Yes, she can. Is she perfect? No, she's not perfect. But I told you in one of the interviews, if anyone can tell me the single crime that Dr. Kupe committed, no crime. Single misdemeanor that she committed, no misdemeanor. So to sit here and say she is wrong because she was pursued, hunted like a wild animal by people aspiring to lead this country, it's a shame.
Right. I think this is a right place to end the interview. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I want to thank you for the opportunity again. And of course, Daily News, the journalist who did that front page. I think we are building this country slowly but surely, my brother. And maybe I might take this opportunity as well to say, let's build bridges, let's find each other. But in finding each other, let's find each other around certain values and principles. It's not about finding each other for its own sake. No, we have to find each other around certain non-negotiable values and principles. And I want to be there when an ideal Zimbabwe, you know, where everyone is happy, where everyone is living in relatively peace and tranquility. I want to be there, not only there, I want to be involved in building that Zimbabwe. And that is what I'm doing. That's why I'm not doing the popular thing. You know, I could be a populist and I could be laughed. I know what to say if I needed that. But it is not good for the country. We have to build here. So when you are building, you gotta dig deep and put the strong foundations, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And thank you so much also for playing your role.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khaliphani Phugeni. Let's get back again on Friday and talk after the judgment. It's very interesting. Everyone is waiting to see what is going to happen there. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. All right. Thanks, my brother.